Let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, April 9th. It's 5:30 p.m. This is the Marshfield Parks Recreation and Forestry Committee meeting. We'll move right on to item 2, the approval of minutes from March 12, 2025. I can entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve minutes.
Motion by Ben.
I'll second.
Second by Brett. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Anybody need to declare a conflict of interest? Thank you. I see nobody here from public for public comment. Moving on to item 5, we are off the mark for the Forestry annual report.
Mike, welcome. No, I don't think. Can you see the TV okay? So the annual report, going all the way back to last April. Starting out with our Arbor Day celebration. We held it at Brain Park again, had Grant Elementary School come down, and I think we had roughly 100 students or so, and we planted 140 trees with them. So super successful time again. We planted in the central location last year. That's where we harvested the ash trees from the winter. Everybody seemed to have a good time again, and just as a kind of an update in general on the plantings that we've been doing, I've kind of combed through them. A couple areas that was our third year planting, and a lot of the trees seem to be doing really well. I would say the first year's was about like 70% survival rate. The second year's was probably only about 50. That's when we had that really dry summer. So they didn't do as well. And then actually last year's really good success rate. I only found a couple that were damaged from the storms that we had, where trees tipped over on them and broke them. So it looks like it's doing really well. I think over the future years, even when we're done harvesting in there, I think we'll continue to hold the Arbor Day celebration in there just to keep the stocking levels up. So again, the kids have a great time. They learn about forestry a little bit. So that's kind of the end result. When you see those tubes, those are all trees growing in them. So hopefully we can continue that. Getting on to our main operations throughout the city are planting, pruning, and removals. We planted 116 street and park trees. These are the bigger trees that are about 1.5 inches in diameter and range anywhere from 6 to 8 feet tall. So those kind of get planted throughout the city. These dots are representing where we planted them. So we're utilizing GIS. We're trying not to plant on top of utilities. We're trying to put the right tree, right location. Just because a tree was growing there doesn't mean we're going to put one there again. So with just a limited budget, we're trying to make sure these trees go as far as they can. There's some new faces here. I haven't met some people. To go over our planting operation or program here, we utilize what's called a gravel bed. And so we get our trees bare rootstock. That's what these look like here. They come in on a truck, and then we put them in a gravel bed. So that's just a bunch of pea gravel. We dig a trench and put them in there. So we irrigate them throughout the summertime, and then we pull them out in the fall time and plant them. And the picture on the left shows what it looks like when they go in, and then the picture on the right is what they look like when they come out. So all that fine root growth that helps with nutrient uptakes, water uptake. So our transplant survivability is really good. So just kind of the operation there. Pull them out, put them on a trailer, water them, and that's kind of the end result. So in a sense, like the bare root trees, they're about half the cost as a potted or B&B tree that comes with dirt on the bottom of it. And then just from like a labor standpoint, we don't need any super heavy machinery or anything to move them around. So it works really well for the resources that we have available. From a pruning standpoint, we pruned 268 trees this winter. Get a lot of help. The street division primarily does that for us in the wintertime. And we focused on the northwest section of town this year. And so they're primarily focusing on just raising the canopies. making sure that we're getting that clearance on the roadways and sidewalks, and then looking for any major dead wood up in the trees or hazards. So this is pretty cool because we have the city broken up into 5 zones, and then this is the 5th zone that we completed pruning. So actually every street tree has been touched in the last 5 years, pruning wise. So I think that's a pretty big accomplishment there. Oops. From a removal standpoint, we removed 106 trees. So those are just based off of if homeowners call in and they think a tree is hazardous or there's a concern, we go out and take a look at it. And they primarily do come down if it is in decline or a hazardous situation is present, sometimes for construction projects. So again, we're trying to strive for, we want to plant more trees than we remove. So that's been the case so far. Emerald ash borer update. This is the 4th year that we are going into since we've detected it here in the community. It is starting to be pretty prevalent throughout town. This was in Brain Park this year. We found it in there, and what you're seeing is the galleries, tunnels that are made by the larvae, and that's actually what disrupts the water flow and kills the tree. It's not the bug itself, it's the larvae. So yeah, it's kind of prevalent throughout all of town now. This is over by the buffalo or bison in Wildwood Zoo. If you can see the white bark there, the trees in the background, that's emerald ash borer. So that's woodpeckers hammering on the bark, bark's falling off. So if you see that, that is a very good key indicator. I would anticipate probably the next, coming years, 4 years out, we will experience a lot of ash mortality. It'll keep getting worse.
When we see something like that, roughly how many years before the tree is going to be a real hazard?
So I mean, at that point, we'll see like if those trees leaf out this summer, they'll probably throw out a bunch of like suckers. But I would imagine probably another year or two, those will be like stone dead. So, and that's when you got to really start being concerned about that. So, like I said, pretty much a majority of the trees that we cut down in Brame this year had the bug in it and was showing signs of that. And so it's a good thing we started taking those trees out when we did. So, Justin?
You want to talk about what's different about the ash tree when it dies compared to some other trees and how it becomes extremely brittle and dangerous?
Yeah, so actually they say the strength loss property, an infected ash tree, a 6-inch branch has the strength properties comparable to a healthy 1-inch branch. So what ends up happening is like the tree can't even support itself under its own weight. And so it could be a bright blue, sunny, calm day. And, you just, all of a sudden the tree tips over, a big branch falls out. So especially, our park areas, high traffic areas, high target areas, that's where we really want to make sure that we're staying on top of these removals and trying to mitigate them and be proactive about removing these trees.
Mark?
Yes.
I would love it if we could see more of this on maybe the city website page, your city website page, so people would actually know what it's about, so then they can maybe come better or more to you. Because I hear so many complaints, why they take so many trees down? Well, if they knew the problem, they would understand. So yeah, from my standpoint, I've seen it. Oh my, it's not pretty,
Yeah.
But if we can get, again, education in my mind's eye is the biggest thing that's going to help people, that they're not going to sound nasty, because they're wondering why Brain Park looks like. But think about it, as the world comes around, it's got to happen, right? It's a natural order of things. So yeah, if that's a possibility, that would be, and the job you do is obviously fantabulous. I mean, I'm loving every minute of it, but yeah, the more we can get out to the people, because they're the ones that need the education.
Yeah, absolutely. I know our focus on policy, like, call me anytime, email me any questions. I'm happy to talk about forestry, and I believe like everything that we do should be justified and have a reason behind it. And sometimes we don't make the right decision, but we learn from that and we adjust accordingly. So
I think it's important too, there's a lot of people that have, a lot of us out there that have the
these huge trees in our yards.
Yeah,
They're not private property.
yeah,
And if you're not treating it now, which
Yeah.
which I am, like if you're not treating it now, then you better, or it's gonna be gone, right?
it's tough. I mean, I'll say the resources are out there, and
Yeah.
so it's also on the public. You know, they got to make themselves aware of the situation
Sure.
and stuff too. So
Yeah.
you can put the material out there, but if they don't read it,
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
All you can do is try.
Are you replacing them with like a certain type of?
yeah. So kind of just a little history. You know, back in the '60s, or even before that, American elm was planted prolifically. And that's because of availability, cost, and just it's a very tough tree in the environment that has to grow in. These city environments are very tough. And so when Dutch elm disease came along in the 60s and wiped it out, ash and maple were the next available thing that grew. And so we still planted a monoculture of trees. And now here we are again dealing with another pest insect disease. And so we're really striving to diversify our urban canopy. And so we plant an array of different species now. You are a little bit limited just because, like I said, you have road salt, soil compaction, heat, radiation from the asphalt and stuff. So yeah, you are limited on what species you can plant, but we try to diversify as much as we can. So, yeah.
So after like all the trees are dead and taken away, what happens to the insect itself? Is it going to move on to another variety, or is it going to?
Yeah, so it's kind of an up and down cycle. You'll have your big spike in the beginning, but you'll still have ash trees regenerating from that seed, and you know they'll grow up. There'll still be insects floating around, and so it'll just be. I mean, we still have American elm growing in the woods, but it just doesn't get to those gigantic sizes that it used to. So, yeah.
Right, that too, or yeah, is there a time where ash will be back?
I don't know the answer to that question, but I do think it is amazing that these bugs can find just ash trees. Why they infect just ash trees is just, and how they can identify them and kill those only. Still, it's very impressive. And again, I don't know how they do that, but yeah. So, and I'm not aware of any other species that it does attack right now. So, but.
Why do we just give Chuck Chuck? Because that's what they like the best.
What
That's
was
what
it?
they like the best, right? Yeah. Well, that same little pattern.
Yeah. As far as our ash population that we manage, we are not injecting our ash trees anymore. That was a budget cut that came. And so, but we have notified the homeowners that do have ash trees adjacent to their property in the terrace or possibly in the parks. Trees that we have been injecting, we've notified them, and we're giving them the option if they would like to keep their tree that they can choose to inject them. Still, you know, we want to save them as many as we can, but you know, sometimes that's the truth of it. So hopefully we've had a couple calls, interest where they are going to inject them. So, but over the next coming years, like a handful or a lot of the trees will be going on to the removal list, and we'll be trying to replace those with different species. In the parks department, there's a couple trees, more than a couple, there's quite a few that we'll still be treating just for aesthetic reasons and functional reasons. So there'll still be a couple around, but that's just kind of FYI. So as far as special projects, we've got the Brain Park project going on. We completed the 4th year. We harvested up in the northeast section there, and it went pretty good this winter. We got almost all of that area cut. I think there was some weeks where we were in there the whole week, and then there was, I think, at least one week where we didn't get in there at all just because it was sub-zero, pretty brutal. So, but as far as getting the wood out, last year's harvest in the middle stand there, we actually didn't get anybody to bid on it last year just because it warmed up so fast and you couldn't get any machinery in there to get it out. So that sat over summer, but we opened that auction up for that wood in December, and that got sold. That was out of there in January. We were working over in the other section, and that went up for auction in February, and that got sold right away too. So we got all the wood out of there. That was great. And yeah, just kind of, again, a little bit of information. We, basically fell the tree. We've got a crew of guys there. We chipped all the brush on site, and then we chunked the logs up into 8.5-foot sections and stack them there, and then put them up for auction. So that just kind of minimizes our time just so we don't have to haul them off site and spend our time doing that. So, and then again, also just backing up a little bit, a quick little recap. Why we did this 5 zone plan was just to minimize the impact that the community saw, just to kind of use them into this transition period of going from probably as long as anybody lived here, they remember that park forested. And so to have so many trees coming out of it, that's why, like I said, we broke it up into a 5-year stage plan, and we can minimize the visual aspect of it, and then we can clean up as we go and still have park users be able to use the park. So we applied for urban forestry grant this year and received $25,000. And so the project that we put in for is a match grant. So we actually used the labor and the staff labor and equipment costs for removing those ash trees in Brain Park to match the funds that we're getting for the grant. And so we'll be planting trees in 4 different locations. This is along West Adler and the new trail that's going in over there. So I think total we'll have 71 trees going in from this grant. Pretty excited about that. South Central Ave, another location there. East Veterans Parkway, and then also Greasy Park. The trees that we are getting to do this grant, they are, call them a ball and burlap, but they're the company that's doing them. It's kind of an innovative way that they're growing them. But regardless, a lot of these sites, not so much the parks, but Veterans Parkway, South Central, West Adler, those are all very heavy salt route areas. It's extremely difficult to get our bare root trees established on these areas. I mean, you get the salt, you get the, even the CO2 from the cars, just, it's difficult to get our bare root trees growing in these areas. So having these more ball and burlap trees are a little bit hardier. So hopefully they'll do really well in these areas here. So,
What's the average height of those trees that you're getting through the grant?
These will be anywhere, they'll be that 1.5 inch and 3/4 diameter, and then anywhere from 6 to 8 feet tall. So
I think at Greasy Park, I know they're going to do some new construction, and those trees won't be in the way of that. No, they'll be going on the east side of that path. Those trees are on the west side. Right?
yes, these ones right here, are you right here? Is that what we're looking
No,
at?
to your right, right over there, yeah. I'm just thinking about access to, when trying construction, we have a couple of trees in the way of the construction equipment coming in and out. So
Okay.
just something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Laying it out.
We
We also have to coordinate construction routes. I think they'll be coming from the north and probably not the south because of the bridge.
As a contractor, I can tell you that sometimes you go all the ways.
Yeah, this is
Well, that's the stuff we want to know about too. So, like I said, we don't want any conflicts. We want to make things function. So, yeah. Absolutely good. Thank you. Yeah, just as far as other forestry news, we've got this year's Arbor Day coming up next week on the 17th. So I always welcome anybody from the PRFC to come on down and check it out. So it's a really good time. We'll be planting up in that northeast area there. So we'll be meeting there, and yeah, it'll be chaos. So it always is. It's a great time though. And so that kind of wraps up my good thing I smelled it. A little bad one. All right, thank you.
Back to the Emerald Ash Forest. So just for the public's awareness, is there a certain time of year for like the public to be looking for activity or treating
Yeah, so
That's just
summertime is a good visual. Like I said, you're gonna start seeing those white trees. They stick out like a sore thumb. And so as far as summertime goes, you'll start seeing thinning canopies. If you've got a lot of like suckers growing out of the trunks, even woodpecker activity. If you see a bunch of woodpeckers up in the trees, and then if you want to be proactive and treat your ash tree, I mean, calling right now, like getting an ISA certified arborist company in there to take a look at your tree, you know, they can make an assessment on it for you. Is this too far along? Is it still healthy? Can we still treat this tree? You know, they might make you got to make a decision as a homeowner. Is this worth it? You know, the cost to benefit ratio. So, but yeah, calling them right now, getting that set up for the summertime. So it can be injected. Right now is the time to do it. So
You've got information and links.
yeah, so we do have a forestry webpage, and there's a ton of resources on there about just ash trees for forestry as well. So,
Other questions for Mark? Thanks for coming, Mark.
yeah, definitely.
Always good and informational. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. We can go on to item 6. This is pickleball court rules. Justin?
Yeah, obviously, we had the construction of the pickleball courts that finished up in the fall, and we're about to start, well, they've already been out there playing when the weather has been cooperative, but we want to start to establish some rules for that facility. We assume it's going to be extremely popular, and the pickleball people asked us to kind of help them develop the rules. We told them, well, you take the first crack at the rules, we'll revise them, and then we'll kind of bring them to the committee for their approval, just so there's extra eyes and ears on it. So in front of you are the rules, similar to what we've talked about in the past. I think we had skate park rules, we had, I was gonna say HEFCO, but Dandahay water pool rules. I think we may even have zoo rules here at some point. I'm just gonna quickly go through because we do have a little bit of time. The first rule is courts are for pickleball only, no other use is permitted. The following activities are not permitted on the court: cycling, skateboarding, rollerblading. We understand that those two rules are a little bit redundant, but with the close proximity of the skate park, we want to reinforce that. I mean, we probably wouldn't put this rule if it was on the south side or away from the skate park, but we assume it might be tempting for those people using the skate park to cycle or skateboard or rollerblade on the court. So that's why we kind of have that additional. So we already know it's a little redundant, but it's a little extra emphasis. They have use at your own risk. The surface may be slippery, obviously from dew or from rain. The city is not responsible for any injury to persons or loss of property. Users, by participation, acknowledge and fully accept these risks. Courts are open to the public for drop-in play on a first-come, first-served basis during all hours, except during special events or tournaments. They do have one tournament scheduled for this year. I think they're already working on a second tournament. Courts may be reserved for organized play by calling Parks and Recreation Office. Wear non-marking athletic shoes. Children 12 and under must be supervised by an adult. The following are prohibited: food and beverages in the playing area, loud music or vulgar language, glass, tobacco or drugs, graffiti, dogs, pets, or animals except ADA service animals. A single play allowed if no players are waiting. If players are waiting, play only one game to 11 points. Use stacking paddle racks. All trash must be placed in appropriate trash receptacles, and all park rules and regulations apply. And the bottom is our hours for the park, as well as our phone number for any type of issues that they may have. So we typically bring these to you guys for review. Sometimes you guys make some changes, comments, and then we get them over and printed and finished.
Anybody? I've got one thing. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so under tobacco, drugs, if we just had vaping, just for clarity, I think that might be.
Add vaping, what you said?
Yeah.
So I've already seen, and I think we'll have a problem with this because it's open, right? But I've already seen skateboarders in there. And so I wondered if we could, break these rules out, keep them in the rules. I'm not sure where this stuff is going to be posted. But I'm thinking that it'd probably be appropriate to put a sign that included like these top 2 bullet points here, and at each main entrance. So, maybe all these are at the main entrance. I don't know. But I do think that because it's so close to the skate park, that we're gonna see a lot of people trying to skateboard in there.
We do have, I saw today, one of those no skateboarding, but I think it's like right in the middle as you park there.
Okay.
But I
Yeah.
agree with you that we
Yeah.
maybe add that sign to the other side. Not sure
Yeah.
it's gonna deter, but
Because they're gonna come right, I know what they do, right? I mean, because I watch it all day, I work there. So they're gonna come down there and use that front door to go in. They're not gonna see signs, and people are gonna, call the cops, or they're gonna, have to go in there and tell them to get out. It'd be a lot easier if they just read the sign and stayed away.
okay, sometimes people don't read.
Yes, I understand, yeah.
So if you just-
But yeah, that's what I mean. This is like a lot to digest, and if you just put those quick, easy ones where I think we're gonna have the biggest problem, Yeah, okay. Otherwise, I thought these are fine. Yeah. Do we need an action item on this?
Yeah, we'll need approval. I'll
Okay.
make a motion with the addition of the vapes and the extra call out for the skateboarding.
Okay, that's a motion by Ben.
I'll second.
Thank you, Chris. I have a second. Any other discussion, questions? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. We have rules. Hey, we're on the reports already. I like it. Starting with Amanda.
All right, March is a big planning month for me, so that's basically all this report is about. And for the seniors, we scheduled the health fair for October 3rd. ADRC, actually it's still set. Meals on Wheels Prep is still here, but they're gonna take over this back office, so we've been kind of getting that ready for them too before they move in. Programming, I had tennis that finished up in March. Pickleball is still continuing at Oak Ave. There's an indoor facility for when it is poor weather, but mostly they're using the outdoor facility at this point in time. I had a soccer program that ended in March. A lot of thankful parents on that one saying they just appreciated having something small and quick to do indoors, anything to kind of keep the kids busy during, the winter months. Adult volleyball was in full swing still last month, and it's going to finish up this week. For softball, spent the last little bit organizing 3 youth softball teams, 2 for 8U and 1 for 12U. And then this year we actually, for the first time since I worked here, we actually got sponsorships for the cost of their shirts. So that was nice, and there'll be some more logos on our Park and Rec shirts, so that's nice. We also got a new AED machine set up. So we'll have 4, 1 for here, 1 for Oak Ave, 1 for Van de Hey, and then kind of a traveling one that can go around to the park facilities when I have programs there. We received the print brochure in March, which I think you all have a copy of. That takes months of planning, and then we always still find little blips here and there that are whatever. So, but I still encourage people to follow our Facebook page because I have programs constantly that I tried to start up or whatever. So some of the new ones that I have actually I'm taking registration for aren't even in the book because I got them started after that book was finalized. And then for Van de Hey, we're pretty much done recruiting staff at this point in time. I've given out dozens of season passes and day passes for fundraisers, requests from the community, PTOs, that kind of stuff. Let's see. There was a concessions convention I attended in March also, and I got a lot of deals on pre-ordering concessions items that I know that we'll need. And then we have our tentative opening date set for June 7th.
Questions for Amanda? Busy season coming.
Oh yeah, it's
I
here.
got something. Amanda, I handed this out if you want to talk a little about the collaboration with the police department on the
Oh yeah.
past with the cop.
Yeah, so the police department approached us, I can't remember how the initial conversation started, but they were looking for a way to start up some sort of collaboration in the community, and I think we just have a really big outward facing department, I guess. So we've been working with them, several people in our office, just on the flyer and advertising. I don't know if they're ready to advertise it yet, but it's casting with the cops, so they're gonna get together. We're taking registration for them to teach kids how to fish, give them something to do besides get in trouble, kind of get the police faces out there too. And then since it's at the pond, we'll provide a lifeguard for their staff for that day, and it should be fun. It'll be in June, and more details to come.
Get a free tackle box.
Mm-hmm. Kids, kids.
It says participants. John's like, I'm
Successful
going.
Hey, Nick, you're up next with events and programs.
Sure. So the summer kickoff is planned as we do every year, and we're partnering with Visit Marshfield and Midwest Communications, and that will be on May 29th. So that is when we do the giveaways. We have 2 radio stations, and we turn on the fountain, which Madam Mayor will be joining us for that. So we always look forward to kicking that off, and that would be also Dairy Fest weekend. So it kicks off the whole summer along with Mackey's Dairy Fest. The Hub City Concert Series, the series is confirmed, and I have all contracts in hand. So the lineup will be announced next Wednesday on April 16th, so check back for that. The series will run 8 dates this year, which is a little shorter than usual, just how the calendar goes. We will be excluding July 4th week, because most people go out of town. The first show is May 30th, like I said, coinciding with Dairy Fest, ending with Hub City Days as we have the last 2 years. We've already had many private rentals call in to book the plaza for this summer, and we will continue to get them throughout. That has definitely gone up as the years have gone on. So we will take those. If there's any questions or anyone would like to book the plaza, you could just contact me directly. Otherwise, we're just getting ready to be really busy. Any
Questions for Nikki?
We
You sure you don't want to tell us what the lineup is tonight?
preview. We do have
It's really easy if you go into my office.
there's the balloon rally that's going to be happening just north of town. I think they're trying to do kind of a little teaser kickoff thing. We're trying to get a balloon inflated at the plaza. Matt McLean from Visit Marshfield is working on that, so hopefully we have some sort of information real soon that kind of announces it, and we have good weather for that day that they pick.
Yeah, that's very weather dependent,
Mm-hmm.
so it'll be a date, I'm sure.
Okay. I guess we can move on to Ben for Parks, Forestry and Zoo.
You know, I kind of just echo what the ladies are saying. A lot of stuff is getting done behind the scenes right now. Trucks are pulling it into the shop constantly with paint or chalk or trees or whatever we need for the spring season. Guys are trying to get things ready where people don't see yet. Bathrooms are pretty much put together, turnkey ready. So hopefully that first 70-degree day, we can open things up and let it roll. Do the playground inspections, getting that done. So it's really just kind of getting everything ready to roll. Let's see, I guess I could have got my notes too. Mark touched on Arbor Day, that's coming up here shortly. Him and Amanda have been working and coordinating that. I guess if you guys have any questions for Mark, he kind of went through the spill for forestry. Down at the zoo, we did hold Be the Bunny last weekend.
Yes.
All right. A little bit cold out. Turnout was still good. I think all the baskets got sold, or almost all the baskets got sold. So that's great. We got a new zoo manager, and he's learning the ropes and taking it and rolling it pretty good. So current hours, we are in our spring hours. Zoo's open to 6:30 now, a little bit more sunlight. So after Memorial Day, we'll be open to 7:30. So
Questions for Ben? Just a comment, who removed the trees around the pickleball court? Was that?
our staff do.
Yeah, I mean, really smooth operation. Well done. Gave me something to watch for a couple days. I can't believe how fast that went and how efficient it was. And I think it looks fantastic. So it looks better when it's landscaped.
Yeah, we wanted to get it done while the ground was still firm.
Yeah.
So,
Really nice job. All right. Does this get us to Justin? No, cemetery. I'm sorry. Yeah, Amy, how could I miss you?
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay, we had 9 burials in March. Excuse me. Staff did collect about 100 red flags throughout the cemetery that were missed by the Wreaths Across America group when they marked up the headstones for laying the wreaths. but then only about 10 wreaths were left behind, so we disposed of those. Several very large branches did fall throughout the cemetery. I'm not going to breeze them through it, but they're working on getting those picked up now that the ground is starting to dry up a little bit. The spring cleanup deadline was March 30th, and staff will finish their final cleanup by April 11th, and then people can start putting things out again after that for summer. Let's see, staff did fabricate a dump box for the new RTV to meet the cemetery's needs. Staff assisted with the removal of the cedar trees at Brigham. Seasonal staff is hired for the mowing operations for the summer. Let's see, Dan did speak with the Legion members as they wanted to learn more about columbariums, and he did go ahead and plot out the area that they intended to put a columbarium in the future. Secured and awarded the bid for the new cemetery roof, and that was to Altman Builders. And then snow removal.
A lot of stuff. Questions for Amy?
Amy, can I just say thank you for the cleanup in the fall with all the graves?
Oh.
When it started, it was not a good thing, but I'm going to tell you what, as it's coming around, people are embracing it, and they're actually liking this because it makes it look cleaner and better. I knew that it was going to be good, but again, there's always bumps.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to say, this is so great. One more great thing for Marshfield. It's just so, it's exciting to see all the things that are happening. And this is why I try to go to committee meetings as much as I can, which I have to leave in 5 minutes for another meeting, can you believe that? But I just want to tell you guys that I feel this is so, there's not even enough words. Thank you all, because this is so good. It just, again, the negativity, honestly, has come up nothing but positive, because they know what we're doing is right.
Yeah.
So thank you. Whoever came up with that idea needs an extra, yeah. I hope it was you, Amy, because you need that extra. Yeah. Okay, of course, yes. Oh, Justin too, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I didn't get my report yet.
Yeah, there you go, okay.
And despite it was rough.
Absolutely, but you know what?
Yeah, we get a lot of people just complimenting it and
Yep,
just saying it
yes.
looks clean. It's nice to have a.
Yes, and the more you hear that, the more we need to keep that, and everybody, you hear that from somebody, tell somebody, it's so good, yeah. Yep.
I think you guys do a really nice job communicating it, and your department too.
Yep, absolutely.
Communicating it, it's been really good. Yeah, I agree. All right. Anything else for Amy? Justin, you can go now.
After that?
Yeah.
The pickleball lights were awarded to Merkel Electric last month for $83,000. They started work. Speaking of pickleball, they did that landscape plan that was approved at our last meeting that both the disc golf group as well as the pickleball group liked. They went to Shallows Nursery to ask if Shallows would donate that project to them, and Shallows agreed to donate half of it, and the pickleball group agreed to pay the half. So there's no cost to the city.
Wow.
But Shallows will do the installation of that landscape plan that you guys did see at our last meeting as soon as they can. They have a kind of busy, probably spring schedule for stuff they already got booked up, but I would assume it won't be done by their tournament, which is the first weekend in June, but it should be done around that time. I don't know when they'll be doing it, but when you're getting something for half the cost, you're going to be thankful. So
Fantastic.
that's really good news that they got that done. Greasy Playground project. I think you guys are aware of that. That group is out and fundraising. They met their goal, and now they've raised their goal to $750. They want to try to get a poured in place rubberized material. It's just a rubberized flat material. It's much more accessible and much more user friendly, especially for the moms and dads. So that's exciting news. They would like to start this year, but they also know they got to meet that goal. So obviously, if they get a huge donation and some people come forward, they'll start right away. But if they can't, they may start in the spring. So it depends on how the rest of the fundraising goes. But I have to give them a lot of credit for their lofty goals and meeting it. So I'm really impressed. I talked about Jurassic Park before. They are done with their plan. I just want the committee to do some sort of presentation to the council at some point. So I'm deferring to them to kind of make that decision when they want to do it. We have a sewer leak in this building, unbeknownst to us, that came about, and it's kind of been dragging on, but we finally have ability to go forward. So we're going to close the building this Friday and have a plumber come in and line it and have it rectified and taken care of right away. We also have to replace the stairs at the MAC, which is as I don't know what MAC stands for, it was an old term used for Marshall Athletic Complex. or the softball fields. So it's a term that we use that describes the softball fields at the fairgrounds. We got to replace those stairs. We also have a very pesky leak in the basement of this building that we can't quite figure out where the water's coming from because it's all solid block walls and the wall is leaking. And we have it's probably been 3 months. We shut this water valve off, works, still leaks. But the water's unconnected, so now we have replumbing of everything. So this week we just tried a different thing and we're hoping it works. But if you guys can understand a solid block wall that's leaking, you just can't like cut a hole in it. It's significantly expensive and significantly costly. We're really trying to figure out troubleshooting this for the last 5 months. It takes forever just to do this stuff. So other than that, everything is good. Hopefully the weather turns and we'll have 60s and 70s very soon. So that's all I got.
Questions?
Good job, Justin. Thank you.
I've got one thing. So the Jurassic Park thing,
Yes.
are they going to come to us to just present it before it goes to council, just so we can give them some input?
They struggled that, but they thought just going to the council, then having that presentation, then just shared with the public, whether it's through Tom and his department or whatever. And how do I explain it? It's just an idea. There's not really a financial backing. There's not really anything of foundation that's going to happen. It's an idea that we hope the community will get behind. It's costly and it's going to take a lot of donations and volunteers to make it happen. So that's what they thought was probably the most appropriate, rather than giving it here, then it leaks out to the community and then council gets it here in secondhand.
All right. Okay, we're going on to Parks, Recreation, Forestry Committee items for future agenda. Anybody have anything?
I have like just
Sierra?
want to throw out maybe a unfeasible or potentially feasible idea for the bike trails. If we could have like a kiosk somewhere to connect the points of interest in Marshfield, or like some sort of way of like, if you were gonna be on a bike, you could go see the round barn if you did, if you went this way. If you were on the north side, you could see, what's over there.
Walmart.
That's in everybody's mind. Yeah.
There's Thomas Park is out there, right?
Thomas Park, right? Exactly. Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Yeah, something to maybe like informational of a kiosk somewhere that you could like a bike person could like see the city more.
Sure.
So I don't know what that.
Well, that's a really good idea, because we do have leadership groups that come through. And this would be right up their alley to really be creative, because it gives them an opportunity to explore the community more. Or two, it gives them an opportunity to understand our trail system, and then it kind of makes them do an attainable project. Sometimes their projects are not always attainable, or they're looking for stuff to do. So this is not a huge impact, meaning like it's not a huge cost impact, and it's definitely attainable for them to do. So this, I'll pitch it to Mackie for a leadership project next year.
Okay.
Cool, good idea. Anything else? Anybody? One thing that I'm bringing forward for Natasha in her absence, she is at a fundraising meeting tonight. But she wondered if we could start thinking kind of proactively about how we're going to be able to cut the budget for next year. Rather than reactively, rather than the administrator coming to everybody to say we need 3% or whatever. And so she thought that maybe we should look at some of the, kind of the land that we don't use that are designated parks. And I'll give you an example. The South Precincts Wayside land, that type of thing. We should maybe consider selling it, or something to that effect. I'm not saying that's the only thing, but I'm saying that would be an example. And maybe we could put this on for a future agenda item, just to start just discussing, where we see we could, maybe help you out, with budget, prior to, being under the axe.
Yeah, we'll definitely bring this up for a future meeting, and then just kind of open up the floor for discussion, and people will have to help a little bit, because people may not always know exactly what everything that is entailed in our department and what it all encompasses.
Right.
We've already been meeting with like our zoological society and the zoo staff about coming up with revenue producing programs to kind of go the other direction. On not cutting, it's just creating more revenue producers.
Yep.
We may have to look at the other side of things and looking at raising fees again. We just did a pretty big, I won't say a big fees, but we across the board raised a lot of fees just 2 years ago. That needs to be addressed again. There's a number of those things, but definitely we can look at these smaller, maybe underutilized properties if they need to be sold or donated or whatever the case might be.
Okay, thanks, Justin. Okay, I think we are ready to announce our next meeting, which would be Wednesday, May 14th at 5:30. Let us know ahead of time if you can't make it. That's much appreciated, so we know if we have quorum. I see nothing further on the agenda, meaning we are adjourned.